The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Have to be honest and upfront about what it is that you want, and then it's also in that piece of talking about your expectations.
I'm afraid he's henpecked. I always say there's nothing wrong with henpecked as long as it's technology. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. We are glad to be with you on another Saturday morning into the afternoon. I am Bishop Sherman Henderson, Senior Pastor of Revival in the Land Missionary Baptist Church, located at 9134 South on Cottage Grove in Chicago.
And I am Evangelist Marquise Holyfield, and we're excited to have you with us on this Saturday morning. It's a cold Saturday, but it's still a sunny Saturday, y'all. So we're excited for y'all to be with us today.
It was so warm all week long.
I know,
but
you know,
all of a sudden it's just like boom, cold.
They said we getting this one. Well, actually, we get a cold spirit today that is going to be back to 57 degrees tomorrow,
That's
then
right.
60 degrees on Monday, and then I think it's next Thursday or Wednesday, we get another like 37 degree weather, and then we go back to 60s again.
But you know, all things being equal, the interesting thing about it is if somebody told us at the beginning of the year that our coldest days would be 37 degrees in February, I would have been shouting. So because I knew it wouldn't have been much snow out. But we kind of got just spoiled with the weather those days, and looking forward to that 60 degree day. I feel the cold coming on at work.
Okay, now don't be doing that. Don't be watching the show.
Right, then we watch the show. Be like, it'll come up on the side, like it'll be like, you know, Bishop's boss. Don't try it. You
right,
know?
don't try it.
And Latrice, how you this morning?
Happy Saturday to you too. Yes, but I'm excited. We'll be back warm again tomorrow, and then so if we could just go to 30, back to 60 to 30. Okay, we good. We just make sure. Don't think to bring out your full spring weather just yet. You still gotta wear your sweaters and your hat, and occasionally put your gloves. Even if you wear your light jacket, put your gloves in your pocket because you never know when the temperature goes.
But now you do know that Friday is March 1st. So spring is coming, right? So
I know.
Spring is coming. 2 weeks to spring.
I'm excited because I've already been y'all who regularly watch the show. You know that I was talking about I'm a gardener, so I am already have picked out like what plants I'm getting ready to dig, and I can't wait so I can go to Home Depot so I can go ahead and get my plants and so forth. So just saying.
And I'm a barbecue guy,
yes.
So when it gets warm, I'm gonna throw the grill out just about every day and barbecue because that's my thing to do outside. I just cannot wait till it gets 70, 80 degrees.
Oh my God, yeah.
I need a vacation.
Me too. It's so funny because people always somebody asked me, I'm a hot weather girl. So I like it when it's hot. And they was like, even when it's unbearably hot, it's unbearably hot.
Yes.
I just like it when it's hot. I like to be able to wear no coat and sandals and a nice sundress. That is the girl. That is me all day long. Bishop Latrice, invite you to the barbecue.
Definitely invite you to the barbecue. Me, I'm a jogging pants, t-shirt, gym shoes kind of guy. I know that might come as a surprise to those who see me at church, but nope, I'm most comfortable in jogging suit and gym shoes. So All right, what do we got on top for today?
So we got a fun-filled show for y'all today. So we will start off with topics in the news. So we got to talk about AT&T and they outage this week. Like that was just crazy.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
No.
So we can talk about that and our use of dependency of. She said, "Yes, ma'am. Say that. I love sundresses too. Me too, girl." And so we got to talk about that. And then, are we really thinking about are we that dependent on technology?
Yes.
And then, hey, Damien.
Hey, Damien.
And then we gonna talk about a little bit of cyber safety because there's some things that's going on. We're gonna talk about that. It was a camera company that somehow had a glitch in their system, and you was only supposed to be able to see the surveillance in your house, but you can see surveillance in other people's houses.
Whoa,
we'll talk about that.
What?
We'll talk about that today.
Okay.
And
that's
then
a new one on me. Okay.
we will also have 2 great points for Black History Month, some things that are happening. So we just want to talk about those things. Super excited about that. We promised we would talk about basketball, so we got some basketball highlights for y'all as well. And then the rest of the show, we're going to talk about in our relationship segment. We're going to really talk about this. There's a quote that I'm going to talk to you all about, but it's like, how do you avoid the argument? And probably people are like, what do you mean? So we're going to talk about how you avoid the argument, and we're going to go simple all around expectations. And then, of course, our spiritual topic, we're going to talk about how to captivate every thought and bring it into line with our faith. And that's key and important. So that's going to be our show today. So let's get started.
Yes. Just wanted to do a shout out for those who came out to our Real Love Day last weekend. It was really a beautiful time. We had some fun and games and everything else. And tomorrow you got something going on.
Yes, so we don't want you all to forget. Do not forget that tomorrow at 2 p.m. at 9134 South Cottage Grove, we will be having Women's Ministry sponsoring a vision board / prayer board party. So from 2 to 4, come in, hang out with us. There is a small fee of $15. It covers the materials and supplies. So you don't have to bring anything. We'll have the magazines, the scissors, the glue, the stickers, the boards, everything. And then, we're going to have a little snack because this is Revival in the Land. We do nothing without food. So we're going to have, there will be food. So, for a small fee, come join us and spend some time in fellowship. This is a time to just fellowship and have a good time. We like to say, as Bishop always say, we like to show the world and also the Christian world that you can have clean, good fun.
Absolutely.
You can do great things and have good opportunities to hang out with and fellowship with other people. And it's just everyday stuff. So come join us.
Absolutely. AT&T outage. How did you find out about the AT&T outage?
Well, I'm not an AT&T customer. I'm a T-Mobile customer. When I woke up 2 days ago, I was thanking God that I was. I tell no story. But
the Ril Inspired Word does not endorse any telephone company. The views expressed by Marquise. Okay.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
So, what ended up happening was, it was on Thursday, so I was supposed to get my hair done, and my cousin has AT&T. I'm like, why is she answering the phone? And then I saw on Facebook AT&T is out, and I was like, oh man. And then she came to the house, and I was like, she's like, my phone. I was like, oh. And then my grandmother called me and was like, you okay? Now she using her house phone. She go, you okay? I was like, yeah. She said, because my phone's not working. I said, do you have AT&T? And she was like, yeah. I said, well, nobody with AT&T's phone is working right now.
It was really interesting for me because I was at work and Aaron called me on FaceTime. And I'm like, why is Aaron FaceTime? That was the first thing I wondered, like, why is Aaron FaceTime? And so he's in his truck and everything else. He's like, yeah, Pop, AT&T is down all over the country. And immediately I thought about that movie, Leave the World Behind. Have you seen that?
No. Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Yes. So I immediately thought about that. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's going down, right? So then I thought about it. We live forever without cell phones, right? It's not the end of the world because of that. But people are freaking out. They're like, oh, I can't call people. And
the bad part was you couldn't call, you couldn't text. And if you didn't have your computer with you, so let's say if you didn't have a laptop, and if you didn't have a tablet, you had no way of communicating with anybody because the average American right now has given up their home line, landline, to have their cell phone as their phone. So if something happens to your cell phone, you just kind of out. And it's funny because I was telling my grandmother was teasing. I was like, I'm glad you part of that generation that did not give up your landline. I was
with the long cord. I said I'm gonna bring that style back where you plug it to the wall and have a long cord that you walk all around the house with. Yeah, I'm bringing that back. That's gonna be called retro, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, if you think about it, there was a time we didn't have phones, and when people called you, people like, so what am I gonna do? I'm like, we did in our day. Just call back. Because you imagine we didn't have answering machines, we didn't have cell phones. If somebody called you and you weren't home, just call back, right? So now we're acting amazing. Kind of like when COVID broke out and everybody was buying all the supplies. I understood toilet paper, but the one thing that always got me is why they was loading up on bottled water, because I'm like, you could just get water out of the sink.
But we got some germaphobes that do not. We got people who do not drink water out of the faucet.
But if you like dying of thirst, you gonna be dying of thirst.
I mean, you can still I should say, just boil it. Old school, put it in the kettle, boil the water, whatever impurities is in it.
I'm old school. We just let it run for 10 seconds.
That's true.
But it's just amazing me the reaction people have when things of technology break down as though we've always had them. So, I get it and leave the world behind, because if you shut down the whole internet, people won't be able to get money out of banks and things like that. So I can see where we could spin out of chaos, but it was really interesting that people were like, hey, conspiracy theories about.
Well, don't feel bad, because my cousin, she was like, I can't access my bank account. She said, I can't do nothing. She said, thank God for Apple Pay.
Go to the bank. Be like, bank, here's my,
It was interesting. I was just like, okay. I was like, I think we're a little bit too reliant on these phones. For real.
Yeah, I definitely, I think so. It was, like I said, it was hilarious to me after the initial shock wore off and everything else. So.
But you don't have AT&T, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. I didn't think so.
No, I'm not part of the evil empire.
Oh, okay.
I got this thing about a certain telephone company, because once I found out that, remember how you used to have to rent your phone?
Yes.
And I did the math on renting our phone, and we had given them over like $2,000 for a phone.
Oh, no.
Back in those days. Remember that before it got regulated? So I've always said that I would not give a certain phone company any more of my money, unless I work there. Now, if you are hiring, I work for you, yeah, we can do it. I know, right? I don't want to shut no doors, right?
Shut no doors. I'll open these doors. And Damien is like,
right. Because you never know. AT&T executive might be looking and be like, and I was finna hire him too.
If I become an employee, that's a whole different process.
Whole different thing.
We part of the same family there.
Because I was an AT&T employee for this long when cable companies were merging. So, no problem.
I hear you. So the next thing we wanted to talk about was cyber safety and how to protect ourselves. Because there are so much going on right now with the cyber safety, with hacking and so forth. Ironically, me and my significant other went to go see The Beekeeper this week, and it has something in there about cyber safety. It was a person, Felicia Rashad played an elderly woman who had retired, and she got her money stolen from her. The hackers came in her computer. How they call this number on your screen, and they stole all of her money. And so I won't tell the rest of the movie. But anyway, so that premise, it was so easy. We watching this movie and we going like, it is so easy for these people to steal your money. And then there's no way for them to get it back. And then the crazy part is, as we kept watching, they was like, oh, just put a lawyer on that. Put the lawyer on that. And I'm just like, so you can steal people's hard-earned money and they can't get it back. And then now they got to sue you to get their money back when this should be illegal for you to be able to do.
Well, couple of things, because as we talked about cybersecurity, one thing that I often say, like, you talked about Apple Pay. I definitely would use Apple Pay to pay for things, and then I pay my Apple Pay off. A, you get points on it, but B, is because you have a higher level of security. So if Apple Care gives you almost zero pushback if you let them know immediately that something's fraud. Okay. And sometimes they will even give a fraud alert and not let you buy it until you call them and get that settled. But with that, and talking about cybersecurity, the thing that I'm most concerned about is two things. There's an uptick in people being robbed for their phones and passwords, right? and also with click-through, what we call click-through scams, where somebody say they'll give a general website that looks just like your company's website.
Yep.
And you click on it, and you have all types of things going on. Hey, Karen, how are you doing? And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to remind people that if you get a text from anybody, your bank or anything, don't go through the link that they sent. If you really want to check with your bank, your whatever company you might be dealing. You might be dealing with the light company. You get ones that say that you have a Geek Squad deal, and we thank you for joining Geek Squad, and we're gonna charge you $399. Click here, right? So most people click there, and I've seen so many people swindle because those things look so real. So I often say, never click on the link sent to you. Always go to legitimate links that Don't be afraid to call your vendor, because some of them will say you get $50 cash back on your bank account, right? And so when people see it, they just assume it's their bank. They're like, well, how do people know I got Chase Bank? Well, you might not know that you got Chase or BMO or whoever, but what they do is they compile a list of email addresses, and they just send thousands of them out. So some of those people are going to be Chase, or some of those are going to have those. And what you don't know is all the other ones that was sent out, and people click on it. As aware as I am, I almost clicked on several things,
Yeah, because I know I got sent something recently that same thing was Geek Squad. And I was like, hey, I don't owe y'all no money. And I just said delete. So it's one of those things, especially, they was doing a lot of that scamming pieces with Amazon, where they were saying Amazon said something wrong with your account. Don't go to their link, go straight to Amazon, look at your account itself, and do those different things. Latrice said say that someone tried to hack into her PayPal at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So it's just one of these things where, unfortunately, there are so many people out here that are not doing what is right and not living a righteous life, and is trying to steal from other people.
So there's several things I want you to remember. Whenever you go to any ATM, make sure you're covering up so nobody can see you putting your password. I watch all the time, and I'm saved and love the Lord, but I sit and watch people put in a password. I'm like, you don't know if I'm a criminal or not. So all I got to do is hit you over the head. Now I got your password. Cover your passwords. Put your body in the way. Cover it. Don't be ashamed to be like, well, I don't want people to think that I think they're a thief. Cover your password. Stand in the middle of it. Do whatever you have to do. Also with your phone as well. So many times I see people that will put their codes in their phone. Be careful, because once somebody get you're right. Change your password every 30 days. It's true. Latrice, you make sure you are protecting yourself. Don't open your phone on a crowded bus or on a crowded train, right? You want to try to use facial recognition. I definitely recommend I know it's inconvenient, but 2-stage verification to get in any money account is definitely recommended. I know it's uncomfortable. I know you don't want to have to wait till that text come back in order for you to get the code, but it keeps you safe. You want to definitely make sure you're safe. Same thing as when you put things in your wallet. With credit cards, banking information in your wallet, you definitely want to make it where it's 2-step authorization, so that anybody getting your phone just can't start using your wallet. Your wallet is going to immediately check for your face. Those type of things. But if you ever confronted by somebody, please don't try to be a hero. Give it away, phone, wallet, whatever. You can get those things back, but you can't get another you back. You definitely want to be careful about schemes that people do. They'll send a check to your house for $100,000 and say, hey, go cash this check, and
wipe your bank account.
Right. So you have to be careful on, especially our seniors. We want to try to make sure that we are giving them all the information they need, not because seniors are targets because they don't know, right? So we want to make sure that we helping everybody be safe out there.
Yes, indeed, you are. And I like I said, just be safe and be mindful and be mindful. And people make fun of me, but I tell people I check my bank account every day for that purpose.
Yep, 75 cents. Still got my 75 cents in there.
But but I'm seriously, I check it down, and I know what's in that to the penny, because sometimes these different hackers and different things start off small. They'll take $1, they'll take a penny, something that think people don't notice and don't pay attention to, and then they go back and take larger amounts. So just be made mindful. You don't have to be as anal attentive as I am with it, but I check it every day, and I know it's in there down to the cents.
Absolutely.
Yep. So we wanted to talk about that, just making sure you all are safe. But also, we wanted to talk about, so today on the news is a company called Wyzerk. They're a camera company, a home security camera company, and they found out that they had a glitch in their system where over 1,300 customers would be able to, it's a security system, so you're supposed to be able to monitor your own house when you're away from home, like most people do. And they was able to see not only into their house, they was able to see in some other people's house. What? So they fixed it and said that, they apologized and said it was a glitch and this. But it's one of those things, and they had cybersecurity folks on there talking about that is one of the things that we have to be mindful of. Yes. The security and the safety and the quickness that we have to be able to look at our own homes, that you do have the possibility of a malfunction and it do the opposite. So to make you safe, it makes you unsafe.
Well,
so
what do you think? Like cameras on? I've never been a camera on the inside of the house kind of guy.
Me either. I don't do the cameras. Like I do the camera outside. Like
right.
So
like every
front
window
door, back
door.
For everywhere the doors are, I got it.
Right.
Sensors on.
But inside the house, I always thought that what if like your neighbor learned your password and then
well, you know what? And the only reason why I think people would do that is because dogs and children. So like some of us, I don't know, maybe I'm dating myself, but some of us was latchkey kids. We came home from school and, we used to just call our mama at work and say, we made it in the house, Mom, we're in the house now. Mm-hmm. That was what we did old school. But now some of these parents want to be able to see their children and so forth. And so that's probably what it is. And then, when you go away on vacation, you want to see people get in the house. But I just feel like ADT just going to call me and let me know. See, somewhere else. Because I know when my code is being disarmed. So, and I know, so like it alerts my phone.
That part don't get me. It's the fact that like with devices like that, they tend to have low security.
I know, and that's what they were saying. Exactly what they're saying.
And so, your neighbors can probably latch into it. How many times do you share your home password with somebody so that they can, surf on your internet? And then once somebody become part of your network, they kind of like in your network. I know. And so to be able to access cameras and things like that. So me, that's why I'm never in the house person. Outside the house, cameras everywhere.
Me too.
I got cameras watching my garden just in case my neighbors try to steal my vegetables.
Franklin said he like cameras inside his house. And Ash says, I always get alerts. Yeah, see, I'm with you, Ash. I just prefer to just get the alerts. And then I know that if it's not me, I can immediately call ADT and be like, hey, we got a problem.
I get you on that, but just the camera in the house thing just always kind of just.
Well, no, because I feel like that's too.
I want a safe space. I want to have privacy.
Well, exactly, because those are your most intimate moments. People, like to do whatever they do and walk around wherever they want to walk around in their home.
You whoop your kids accidentally on the camera, didn't be like,
right?
And now we have video footage of the abuse. You know what I mean? Right. It'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'm on the outside, but definitely, you want to be safe and make sure you change your passwords.
Yes.
That you are securing your network down. I often tell people that they have apps you can see what is all on your network. So I would definitely say, get those apps to make sure that you're not seeing extra people and things on your network.
And then, lock your network. Make sure your network got a password. So like, everybody got those before people can use your internet and so forth. Make sure you lock it. Do not have an open. A lot of people do this. Don't have an open network. So make sure your network's locked. You gotta put a passcode in.
Definitely. Passcode in. And here's what I recommend. If you are technical enough, I always recommend having one, because in your routers at home, you can put in multiple networks. You can create multiple networks. So what I do is I create a network that's just for me. And then I create what's called a guest network, so that there's a separation between me and my guests, and they only get access to certain things. So definitely be safe out there.
Yeah. Okay, y'all. You know, this is cybersecurity. We so technology bound. We gotta be safe out here. So next up, we promised that we're gonna give one football tip, and then we're gonna go move over to basketball. So what we wanted to talk about is actually in line with Black History Month. So as we're coming to the end of Black History Month, can y'all believe we almost at the end of February? I don't know where it went.
Friday.
So yes, the first will be March 1st. Lord help us. Okay, this year is just flying by. But what we wanted to know is that the Chicago Bears, first time in history, have a female, well, not only a female, but an African American female as the assistant coach for the running backs. Never done before. So we are like two hats off to them. So they're saying that they got a triple threat right now because they have a president of their organization is African American male, their general manager is an African American male, and now they brought in their first female.
A lot of African American coaches too. They are really progressive. The Bears, go Bears!
Yeah, they're being very progressive. So we just wanted to bring that in as a good note for Black History Month.
I think it's good because the one thing about it is that there are a lot of ladies who love sports.
Oh my God, yeah, and can call the plays and so forth.
Right.
I recently, those of you all who still football enthusiasts like me and Bishop, if you have, I believe it's on Netflix. If you still want a little more football, they have a show called Quarterbacks. It's from the 2021-22 season, but it does Patrick Mahomes. It does I can't think his first name. Cousins from Kirk Cousins, and then Marcus Moreno. Right? He used to be the quarterback for the Falcons. Then he went to the Raiders. Yeah, but they have a great kind of in the day in the life or seasons for them. But it shows their families. It shows all the work that goes into being a quarterback and everything they do as a football player. But it also shows how their supportive system and the women in their life, how they're going back and forth with them with plays, which I thought was great. So it's those football people who just need a little bit more.
There are a lot of ladies who I know. Cam Newton got in trouble once because the lady was describing the play with him, and he was taken back that she would have so much in depth. But no, you got a lot of moms who raise their kids playing football. A lot of ladies just playing football, that like sports in general. And so I think it's about time. Like kudos, definitely you had in high school you had the moms who won a national championship, and they were moms, and they were the coaches of the football team. So no. Sports is becoming universal, especially when you get Taylor Swift to come. Huh?
I know, I guess so.
So you have more, but no, I believe the sports are universal. I'm really liking the fact that a lot of women athletics is getting attention. Did you see the shootout between Steph Curry and the young lady?
No, I did not tell you about it.
Yeah. And
which was at the All-Star game?
At the All-Star game. And so I think that's good.
Was it him and Candace?
What is the lady? Caitlin from, I think, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, they had a shootout, and I thought that was good to incorporate the two. For the longest time, I have wondered why the NBA and the WNBA don't do more joint ventures to increase the audiences. But the audiences for women's basketball is growing, and I like it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, some more in sports. We also wanted to put a shout out there to women's basketball is high school women's basketball. So the Lady Broncos of Kenwood Academy won the championship against Whitney Young. So just so y'all know, put it out there. It was
my basketball skills don't go that low. It stops at like Loyola, Illinois, a little bit of Northwestern.
We just like to put it out there. We said we was going to talk a little bit more about sports. But also, before we get into the NBA, I wanted to talk a little bit about, it's another Black History Month, but it's also related to sports. So we just found out that Howard University is the first historically Black college to have the intercollegiate figure skating team, where there's been other schools, of course, that has had it and so forth. And so
where do they practice?
They practice actually right outside the school. It's the downtown area that has
It's
like a
hot by the. It's like in a hot part of the country. So what do they?
They
like?
in Washington D.C. Howard University.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I'm thinking about the South. Okay, never
Okay,
mind.
no.
Okay.
I'm like, no,
Yeah,
they can go like we do.
Okay,
They right there outside of Maryland.
But I think that's a good thing.
It's an awesome thing. And they were talking about how it was two young African American young women. One was a sophomore, one was a senior. And they were both talking about how they grew up learning to figure ice skate. And they wanted to bring it out and so forth, and wanted to do it while they were in college. It's a great way to keep active and exercise and healthy and so forth. But they was like, it's a passion of theirs, and it was like, and there's not a lot of African American women figure skaters, and so they wanted to highlight that.
I remember that there used to be an African American figure skater, and she won the Olympics. Do you know?
Yeah, 1994. They talked about her today. I cannot think about her name.
She won. I thought that was an anomaly. I thought more African American youth would be into skating, and the only thing I could think of that would deter them is that it's cold.
Well, that part, but and also figure skating is expensive, so you have to, depending on where people live, you have to figure out where that resource is, because in the inner city, how many ice skating rink parks do we actually have outside of going to Millennium Park?
No, we'll just be in the parking lot. Just throw water down the parking lot.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So like if you live, I know, but it's about resources. So those type of sports, we have to be making sure that we want to encourage more of people of color to engage in them. We need to make sure that those resources are available. There's actual skating rinks and so forth available for them. So where is that in your neighborhood?
I'm not a hockey or ice skating aficionado, but I do notice that I've been seeing a lot of more African Americans in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess African Americans are picking up ice skating. I remember when Jackie was my youngest daughter, when she was young, she actually used to go to ice skating classes. They had the ice skating class. So I think it's good. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's great. So we shout out to the ladies.
But me, I'm not getting on any kind of skates. Rollerblades.
Actually, I've done it. I've done ice skating.
Roller skating.
You do have to. It's really hard about balance. So like, I realized that I always kept saying I'm going to do it with a significant other, because that way you have somebody that can hold you up, the balance and piece, because you do need to be able to get your balance on ice skates. It's like rollerblading, but it's just on ice.
Doing that either. Rollerblading, ice skating. I got a friend of mine. Shout out to Pastor Lloyd Kolar. He's a skating like champ. I think he's like a professional skater, and he's invited me to come down and learn how to skate. I'm like, yeah, absolutely not, absolutely not. And I love you, brother, but I'm never coming. Just so you know, like when you're making that distribution list of people to come down, you can just take me off of it, because I will not be on anybody's skating.
Well, I tried ice skating. I actually did like it. We'll probably like to do it again. But like I said, it was on my bucket list. It was one of the things that I wanted to try at least once, and I've done it, and I definitely would like to be able to do it again. Because it's not as cold as you think it is. I know you would think ice is cold. I think me being older is more of the fall.
Yeah, right. It's all about the fall.
It's about the fall piece that I think is key. But once you get your balance, it's actually kind of cool to be able to glide around that rink and so forth, and do figure eights and so forth. So it's actually fun, Great exercise.
I ain't getting on roller skates. My grandson wanted me to roller skate. I got on them roller skate one time, and I got the fall, and I was literally like the Flintstones. It took me like 4 minutes to fall out loud.
So
I said, Lord, if you get me off of this, Lord, if you get me off these skates this time, I'm repenting. I'm repentant of skating. I'm repentant, so I can't go back.
You can't go back. Okay. So next thing news we wanted to talk about, we promised we was going to talk more sports. So now we're going to talk about the NBA. It's basketball season. We're getting ready to talk a little bit more about it. So one of the things that we want to talk about is that they've been posing the question of saying that right now in the East Conference, that the Boston Celtics is based like, they're going to win the Eastern Conference. They're going to the NBA Finals. And then they're saying right now in the West, they're saying that they think that the Warriors and the Lakers have gotten too old, and that they maybe don't have what it takes to do it anymore. So,
you can never the whole thing about sports and sports teams is things going ebbs and flows. So what you're going to see is during certain times of the year, certain teams are going to look stronger and weaker. And it's really all about the cadence that they have going into the playoffs because, you have Milwaukee that's pretty good too in the East, right? I probably don't stop there, but, I get it that Boston looks good, but you just never know because you have regular season and then you have playoff times, and they're two different things. Because remember, the Lakers won the little cup they have this time, right?
Yeah, Latrice says she want to be on that list. Yeah, girl. The Chicago Bulls is like number 9 on the East, so I don't know what that's gonna look like. But the top 3, and they injured. So the top 3 right now is Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then it's the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, so you click Cleveland out, they're not going to be that good. Now in the West, you got. I think Dallas is looking good. Of course, you got.
And I can't remember who it is. I know the Warriors is way down there.
The Nuggets are looking good again.
So we'll kind of see. There's been some really good games. Been watching a couple of games. There's been some really good matchups and so forth. We know Zion has been like hitting it. New Orleans has been doing their thing out there for sure.
Still figures the ebb and flow because the whole thing is like LeBron and Steph are winners, and one thing we know about winners, they win. Mm-hmm. So when
even in the clutch,
right? When it's not on the line, as long as they get in, they're always a threat. Is what I would say. So we'll see.
We'll see as the season continues to progress.
Yep.
We'll see how this goes, you all. So that is all of our time in Black History Month and in sports, you all. Now we're gonna jump right into our good relationship conversation.
Yes.
And okay, so I have this quote and I want to read it to you all. So the quote comes from a daily devotional that I read from Proverbs 31 Women. And so basically it says how to avoid an argument. And then the quote was, expectations without communication leads to frustration. So, and I was like, ooh, that's powerful. So I really wanted us to think about when we have disagreements with your significant others, or when you have a disagreement, period, with whoever you're in relationship with, how many times is it that your expectations that you have not spoken is leading what you're frustrated about and leading the argument?
Okay. Well, when it comes to arguments, my thing is often that it's about not listening to the other person. I always got to think I'll take the best and leave the rest. And so I often, as much as possible, right, I'm not inhuman, so I can get caught up in an argument. But it's about listening to see not only what they're saying, but what they're talking about. So what is the basis of what they're talking about? Is it a need not being met? Were they offended by something? And trying to get to focusing in on that. Because if you start going with the back and forth, I have found that arguments then degrade to not being about resolving that specific issue, but winning the argument. So it gets, what about the time you did this? What about the time you did that? And so I figure that if we are empathetic and listening to the other person and trying to see what's at the root of it, right? So is it like with money problem? What's that? That's security thing, right? Mm-hmm. So the other person is saying that I feel insecure financially when you waste money buying, $20,000 worth of chip shoes or whatever that is, right? So I do believe that having that you have to have that bi-directional communication, and you have to at heart want to resolve the issue.
True. But additionally, I think too, a lot of times what the other issue is that you have these unspoken expectations. You have in your mind what it is that you think the person should do, walk, feel, think, move in certain ways, and then you're upset when it doesn't happen, but you never actually spoke that. I'm gonna give you an example. I have a friend, Valentine's Day just passed last week, so the friend got a really nice piece of jewelry and got some chocolate candy, and they was like, oh, okay. But then later on found out they really didn't like their Valentine's Day. And I was like, why? They was like, cause they always used to give me flowers. I ain't even get no flowers this year. I said, but you got jewelry. And I was like, so they upgraded. I would have just liked the flowers. But it's an unspoken expectation.
I can get that. I totally can get that.
It's an unspoken expectation. So it's like, I really would like the flowers because flowers is more my thing. They was like, oh, I like the jewelry, but the flowers is the thing that I like the most. But then I went around. I said, but did you communicate that? And they was like, no. I said, well, maybe you should. Instead of being upset with the person, just tell them you want flowers.
Because I do, now that you mentioned it, I do notice that people, what would you say, people in general, do get offended by things, and the other person didn't really even know. No idea, like why you're offended by that, right? I'll give you an example. Opening doors. Some people are highly offended if you don't open the door. But you might come from a culture where I don't open doors, right? So I guess it's all about how would you handle that? Like if you didn't want the jewelry and you wanted the flowers, how would you had wanted that? How would you?
Well, you know what? I can say even with me and my significant other, we started off saying we were going to be open and honest, even when it hurt. And one of the things we talked about was we wasn't going to sugarcoat anything. We was going to be honest. He was like, don't placate me. And at first I was like, huh? But then it has really worked because I have been able to say, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I want. So it's kind of one of those things we'll have conversations and talk about different things. And I would just be like, oh, I really like this. So this.
But how would you handle it?
I would have.
Question.
I know. I said a lot. I went around the roses.
I see you make the left there. So that we're gonna come back. You wanted roses, but he got you jewelry.
So I would have. You have to be real delicate with this because you don't want to not ever get jewelry again. So it's kind of those things where you have to kind of talk about. It's like, oh, thank you, baby. I really appreciate this. I really love the necklace. And then maybe you have to be like, I love the necklace, but you know what? You know what the best Valentine's Day gift you ever gave me? And when you gave me them tulips, they just made it real hard.
Because men will get, like, we'll freeze up. Like, men, we very much need validation. And I admit it, we supposedly strong for sex, but that's debatable, right? But,
y'all feelings get hurt too.
But yeah, because if you give somebody a gift, and they be like, oh, that's all right. You'd be afraid to give them a gift. Like, for some people are afraid to buy somebody a gift. But if they want to be spontaneous, how do they do that if they like, well, they might not like the gift, so I bet.
Well, I mean, one of the things that what I've learned too about the spontaneous piece is it's all about the communication. Mm-hmm. So I know with my significant other, I have gotten him, and I say got him, spontaneously surprised him with stuff all the time because we be talking and he talks about his favorite.
Oh, okay.
He collects collectibles. So like, so he talks about his favorite collectibles, or he'll talk about a cologne that he had that he loved so much, but he can't find no more. Or he liked this jersey, or this is his favorite basketball player, or stuff like that. So as we're having casual conversations, I have my significant other list. When we talking, I just go after our conversation. I got a little pad that I have next to the bed, and I go so-and-so list.
So fellas, what we see here now, for you all to get in trouble, now they have a list. So that's how they remember what you said when you said it. And you trying to get out of it, and they're going to be like, nope, on March the 1st, 2024, you said, right? Okay, so now we got that. But I do like
Good morning, Sherry.
Hey, good morning, Sherry. I do like the feedback you gave about notating what they like.
Yes,
okay, so
because I think and like I said, you all know that I was married before. I was married for a very long time. And so what I learned through that process was I learned that one of my unspoken frustrations was that the person who I used to be married to was, I felt like I could never buy this person anything. And I was just like, I don't really know you. And that used to frustrate me because my expectation was I wanted to be able to give gifts from the heart that were meaningful and that was going to bring joy to the person, and vice versa. I wanted that back to me. But then I realized neither one of us were listening to each other, and we didn't speak our unspoken expectations. So it was always this like I would buy something, they wouldn't like it, and then I would get frustrated, and I'd be like, well, I ain't buying you nothing else. That was the old Marquise, and it's gonna tell you.
I remember that I learned about giving gifts that you might want to get some feedback, because no joke, one year I bought some pans. And that gift did not go over good. Like, these ain't for me, these are for you. What are you doing? You got some fresh, what's that lady name? Rachel Ray? You got some Rachel Ray pants. You're like, that's not my gift. I'm like, happy birthday.
That's like, no. It's funny. Latrice says she can understand and appreciate that everything given to me, but I love letters from the heart. See? So that's the key. But Latrice, if you don't communicate that, how does your significant other even know that? So I think those are the key things that I think are important for us to think about as when we talk about this unspoken expectation, because how many of us know that some of these things that we're talking about have turned into arguments?
Yeah.
And then y'all don't talk to each other for, the rest of the afternoon or the day, or some people who still working on their communication
skills. Because I like spontaneous gift giving. Like, you expect somebody's birthday, Valentine's Day, but I like spontaneous gift giving, because then it's from the heart, and it's because you thought enough of that person. But if you get a gift, they'd be like, this old cheap thing, and then throw it away. Then it'd be like, well, exactly. I ain't buying you nothing else.
But then you think about, like, what do they like? So I know, like, me and my sister, we both like charms from Pandora, but they're meaningful ones. So he has a bracelet, so we both like football. So I got Dust the football charm, and he was like head over heels for this charm. You thought I gave him $1 million, but again, it's from the heart. It's what they love, what they value and appreciate. But it also comes from listening. We talked about this. We talked about some other different things and so forth. So I've surprised him with, I remember the first Christmas we were together, I got him a jersey. And it was his favorite football player. So when he opened it up on Christmas, he thought it was like, oh, you got me a so-and-so t-shirt. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And then we opened it and realized it was a jersey. You just swore that was $1 million. But it was one of those things where I like that surprise on his face. I like the joy. Absolutely. So I was like, oh, listening the first time gave me this good result. So if I keep listening,
I think that's a good strong takeaway. That I'll even take away, that you find out what they like first, the pool of options that you have to give, and then give so that it's better appreciated. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, sure. So so to sum it all up, you all, I just wanted to make sure, like, speak your expectations, especially the ones that are unspoken. So if it's opening doors, we talked a lot about buying gifts, but sometimes it's about like the small, simple things. I want love letters. I want balloons. I want flowers. Or it's, I want to be able to, come home and we have a, nice candlelight dinner at least once a month, or whatever the case may be. Or, can we talk through these different things? So what is your expectations? Or like, it can even be simple things of our housework. We are in a new age where, for years it was always, the gender roles where men were supposed to do this, women supposed to do this. So,
and it's changing now a lot.
And it has changed a lot. So,
even as far as even financially, there are some women who can just go out into the marketplace and make more than their significant other. But if you're with somebody and you love them and you want to live your life with them, then I don't think it should necessarily be a tit for tat type of deal, right? I think it should be more or less about how do we best move forward together? Because I think of it like this: if I could significantly make more, and somebody came along in my life and like, no, make less so I could feel better, I would be like, I'm not doing that, right?
Yeah,
you
that part is wrong.
You want to maximize. I think that people are best when two people are helping each other realize their purpose, their destiny, not one person dragging along, latching hold to. I really believe in that. Like in my role now as a pastor, my significant other, everybody knows my story. My wife went to be with the Lord, but as I venture out into the dating world, right, anybody who is involved with me is going to have to be able to support that role in my life, because it is my life. My ministry is my life, right? But at the same time, that person gonna have their goals, hopes, and dreams. So it's not like sacrifice yours at my expense. No, I think it's best when two people are supporting each other and helping each other get to where it is that this life is taking them. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, mine too. I mean, I just agree. I think it's important. Lessons learned. Like I said, from the things that I've learned, I realize it's important when you have the wisdom to share the wisdom. So all my lessons learned was if I would have spoken my unspoken expectations early on in previous relationship, the relationship might have still been thriving. Who knows? But I realized not doing that was a deficit to me, because then I got angry and frustrated and became petty and did different things that kind of hurt the relationship. And so
that's right. Literally, you can't afford it. It's the little things that matter. Absolutely.
Right. So it is the little things that matter. And sometimes you realize too, it's the little things that, that matters, but it's also the little things that go further. But if you are not taking the time to listen, develop that communication, that vulnerability, and that safe space where the person can kind of share those small, increment, small things, knowing that, a box of chocolates, some roses, one rose, if you can't afford the dozen, I guarantee you come in the house with one. Ain't nobody gonna be looking at you sideways. Knowing if that's financial is an issue for you.
As a matter of fact, that might be a topic that we have to talk about on here. Mm-hmm. Finances and relationships, right? Yeah. Because sometimes some people can't. They not that they don't want to, they can't, right? They might have things that limit their earning potential, and whereas a lady might make more than the man. So I think we might want to talk about.
Maybe we should talk about finances and relationships,
because that's a big one. Like what I would, and I'm totally off script now. We only got 10 minutes, but I would love to know at what point is it okay in a relationship to talk about finances? Like, you're not gonna share your credit score on the first date, I imagine.
No.
But at some point, if you're gonna move forward with somebody, you have to see, okay, you got good credit, bad credit. What kind of credit you got, right? I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing, because if you got bad credit, we can work on it, right?
Right. And how do we have to grow and develop those good skills? I don't know. Maybe that's next week's relationship talk.
That's a deep one, though. That's a deep one, right? That's a deep one. Relationships and money. Next week on Ril Inspired Radio.
So
we have a spiritual topic.
Yes, we do. So as we get ready to go, we're going right into our spiritual topic. And our spiritual topic is how to captivate every thought and bring it into line with our faith. And Bishop, I like that this is one of the topics that we came up with, because it's so key and important that your faith, people don't realize your faith is pretty much everything. And I say that in a sense that it guides you, it moves you, it helps you when your emotions are all over the place. Mm-hmm. It helps to keep you grounded. As many times as I say, it keeps me sane. And a lot of times people say, and I realize too, it keeps the positive side of me out. Mm-hmm. It keeps the caring, the thoughtful, the loving, the generous side of Marquise to show, and not the fleshly side of me show too much. Is my faith. So it's interesting when you talk about that, captivating those thoughts.
Because we do have to take authority over our thought life, right? I'll do it quickly because we don't have much time. But if you think about it, we stuck trying to navigate through, 3 things at once. We hear right now, but we have our feelings, and then we have our memories. Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes our thoughts are stuck in the past, and God's trying to do something new, and we don't have a frame of reference for it. And so the only thing that we have is to take the word of God and then apply it by faith, and to take every negative thought into captivity. Thoughts that I can't, thoughts that I'll never make it, nobody will ever love me. All of those negative thoughts, we have to take those. Even sometimes we have to take those thoughts of God. Some people relationship with God is, if I step on a crack, I'm gonna get dipped in Crisco. And if that's your relationship with God, that's fine. But we have to take those thoughts, and we have to take control of those thoughts and those emotions, and we have to apply faith to them, because we're never going to change or get to where we're going unless we step into that faith area, that arena of faith. And so that's why we got to take every thought. You can. You want to write a book? You can. You want to open a business? You can. And you have to take those thoughts that we have and turn them around, in a way, and so how do you do that? When you have those negative ruminating thoughts, you have to turn the question around and say, if something happened, like say if somebody lose their job, rather than saying, okay, I'm jobless, say, what opportunities are created by this situation? What can I do differently? So we got to change those thoughts around to thoughts of faith, not thoughts of fear.
Yeah, and I think that's key and important because the thoughts of fear and the thoughts of negativity are the things that keeps us in the place of anxiety and depression. And so I think, when we start to really look at the Word of God and start really analyzing it and kind of, we say pull back the onion, looking at it, God is, they say God has been giving us all the things that we need to have an abundant life. But God knew that there was such thing as depression. He knew such things as anxiety. He knew that these things were going to come into play. And he knew that watching some of the apostles go through some of these different things and how they struggled with it, that we were going to struggle with it. And a way for us to combat those things is like, okay, so it's like observing and looking and say, okay, so if you don't want to have to go through this thing, here's the blueprint, the map, the course for you to walk down so you don't have to deal with that captivating thoughts. Because as human beings, we were going to have negative thoughts. Absolutely. So us having faith and being able to realize that God has only given us things that brings us life, that brings joy into our life, and not necessarily happiness, because we got to remember, happiness is situational. Mm-hmm. Joy is the thing that you can have no matter what's going on. You can still be in a place of peace and joy, even if it's chaotic all around you.
And that's the thing about you touched on something really big, that the things that happen to us are not our life.
Right.
Like we think that they are our life, but all those things are subject to change. And in reality, if you look at your life, we live life in phases. Like we had a childhood, then we had adolescence. And so God is constantly bringing us through these phases that require us to change, and we want to hold on to what's the same, not realizing that what God has for us is better. So I have to begin to say that I can do all things through Christ to strengthen me. That that I'm a masterpiece, that I'm wonderfully and beautifully made. I have to have affirming thoughts to push against that memory of where I was, because that's where the anxiety and the negativity comes from, is when I grab those memories of where I was and I attach feelings to them, and then that holds me. But I'm saying that this is going to be my best season. That what God has for me is for me.
This is our best season.
That my latter days are going to be so much greater than my former days. I'm speaking that. I'm saying to myself that, because sometimes we don't allow God to give us creative thoughts, right? Because we be so bogged down in negativity, worry, doubt, and low self-esteem that God's trying to do a new thing. And we hold on to that, right? Yeah. So even being a pastor, I'm saying to myself that I'm believing that God's going to create opportunities for me to minister to a wider group of people. So that's what we got to really kind of turn our faith to, is not just having faith in faith, but having faith in God's word and then applying it to ourselves and not allowing ourselves to hold on to those negative thoughts, those negative feelings and emotions.
And it also gave me to think about when you talked about speaking it out. And I think it's also gave me that understanding of God's word, pulling it back, understanding what he says, speak those things as though they work, that what you speak is life, and and I think it's power in the tongue. It was life or death. And it's understanding. A lot of people be like, well, what do you mean by that? But if you think about it, when you say something out of your mouth, all your senses, your mind, you hear it, you think it, you processing it, you bringing that into yourself. So if you constantly speaking negativity, that is what you're bringing to you, literally, because you're speaking it over yourself. But if you speak in joyous things, happiest things, things of faith, dreams that that God's going to do, even if it hasn't even happened yet, it gives you inspiration, it gives you hope, it gives you joy, it gives you determination, and it gives you tenacity to keep going to achieve that thing. But the minute you get that negativity coming in, it halts you.
Right. And speak those things that be not as though they were, mean that you got to thank God for it today.
Yes.
Not some future event. That's how our mind and our hearts work. We have to believe it. There was a sermon that I heard by a gentleman who was true that says that which one is the most important tool, belief or ability? And so everybody's like, ability, right? Knowledge is power. But he says, you know what? How many people with college degrees work for entrepreneurs who don't have a college degree because the entrepreneur believed in their dream? Mm-hmm. And so that's where it's coming. When we believe it, we move in it. When we don't believe it, it's kind of like we're trying to talk ourselves into it so we don't take the actions, right? Because that's the thing that's going to get us there, taking consistently small actions to get us to where we're going. And that's how faith works. So I got to know I'm blessed. I'm already blessed and highly favored. I'm
Amen.
not getting blessed, right? Me getting money is going to be the manifestation of me being blessed now.
Right.
Okay, I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. There's nothing broken. There's nothing missing in my life.
There's nothing lacking.
1 minute to go. Want to close us out?
Oh, yeah. So first I want to say thank you all for just spending your Saturday morning with us. You know, we enjoy you all here at Ril Inspiration Radio. We want to remind you all, don't forget to join us. We actually have Sunday school this coming Sunday at 10 a.m. at 9134 South Cottage Grove. Come join us. Also, service starts promptly right after that at 11. So come join us for service. And as we always say, don't meet us there, beat us there. And then we want to encourage you all. Don't forget, we have our women's
Vision board.
This Sunday at 2 p.m. All right, everybody.
God bless you. Have a smile upon you. This is Bishop Sherman Henderson, Senior Pastor of Revival Land Missionary Baptist Church. Ask you to join us next week at 11 o'clock. God bless you. Have a smile upon you.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ. WVTC also